Hello everyone, Mipa here, trying to make your Monday a little better and maybe even something to look forward to. We are here with part 2 of My Dreams, Vanda's Nightmare, episode 2. If you didn't see the first part that I released a couple weeks ago, probably watch that first, because otherwise you will be very confused about this one. And for any of you who have been waiting, it's finally here, so let's get into it. Vanda knew that now her time was extremely limited. She assumed she'd start having symptoms within the hour, but she wanted to hide it as long as possible. She wasn't going to spend her dying minutes locked up in the office. She was going to spend them doing something useful. So, Vanda washed it as much as she could off and didn't tell anyone. I know that may not seem smart, but that's what she did. And before she knew it, Anya called a meeting with her, explaining that Fellow had requested to let Vanda go on the mission in place of him. What is the mission? Well, the boss isn't only attacking this school, no. He's causing issues around the country. So when the little fighters found money that had been raised for the school and had started collecting what currency they could, they decided to help those other places. And Vanda was to be part of that first expedition. So, on the bus she went and with a few other kids, went to do the one thing she wanted to. Help. On this mission, Vanda and whoever was sent with her snuck into this massive, extravagant, and expensive building the boss had taken over. There were kids stuck in there, they knew it, so their goal was to free them, hopefully before the kids were taken under the boss's control. Unfortunately, there were a lot of guards in this place, and the little fighters were caught. Vanda only survived and escaped because the miracle magic saved her and allowed her to escape and hide in the vents. While traveling this maze, she found an office-like room. She chose to hide out here, wondering how she was still alive or how the poison hadn't started affecting her yet. It had already been 24 hours at least. But Vanda didn't get far in that thought before she heard a scramble in the vent she just came from. She readied an attack, but children appeared, as you see in this drawing. They introduced themselves as Sharmau and Ace. They had escaped the cages, and although they were being hunted down, they were willing to help her save the other kids, as that was their plan anyway. They knew the vents well and were able to show her the best paths before they were able to execute the plan. The three kids were about to run across a massive, open room that was the last thing in their way from the others' freedom. So they ran, full speed across the barren floor, heading to the door on the other side. But about halfway there, a bird-like screech came from the crossbeams above, and they knew they were done for, but kept running. Vanda yelled for them to find safety, anywhere, somehow, even though they all knew that wasn't possible. But they ran to the sides of this hall-like room anyway, testing the doors, and by some unknown miracle, some were unlocked, and they were split up across who knows where in the enormous building. Suddenly, a girl with metal, angel-like wings came down, but she was nothing like an angel. Laughing wildly, she chased after Vanda, who hadn't yet found an unlocked door. Vanda gave up on the doors and just ran, with the winged girl catching up, throwing feather-like blades. While trying to run, Vanda realizes there are vents above. If only she could reach them. This sparks a memory from almost 2 years ago when she ran from that man and made it to a platform 2 stories up. What if she could do it again? Even though the miracle magic had already saved her once that day, it was worth a try. So she threw her arms back and up she went, up on the crossbeams. The winged girl got caught in the blow and was stunned, while Vanda took this chance to run to the nearest vent. But the door wouldn't budge, so she had to hide behind a beam with the winged girl teasing her. I will admit, that was impressive. It won't happen again, though. Don't make me kill you. You're such a talented little brat. The boss would love to have you on their team. And not even Vanda knew what had caused her to respond. I would never betray my friends that way. The winged girl laughed again. "Oh, those two you ran to your deaths in here with? They ought to be dead by now." Vanda told her she didn't believe her, even though deep down she knew it was probably true. Not long after their talk, the winged girl found Vanda's hiding spot, and Vanda tried to escape and hide again, with the miracle magic allowing her to leap from one wall to another and throw magic orms at the winged girl in a weak offense. But even then, she was no match for the skill the winged girl had. She had knocked Vanda down, and she fell to the marble floor below. Winded, Vanda tried to get up, feeling weaker as the poison effects caught up to her. She was kicked into a pillar, and the winged girl dared her to try and escape, with a feather dagger ready to eliminate her. Vanda said nothing, not even looking at her, waiting for the blow. But the winged girl had other plans. She started to ramble to her. "The boss has been after you for 2 years, child. Do you understand how frustrating that is? All because of your stupid magic. And after all that, I have to keep you alive?" Vanda was surprised by the news. She tried to say she didn't have magic, but the winged girl claimed otherwise. "You still having a life is no coincidence, child." The winged girl offered Vanda a chance to live, to keep her life. All she had to do was help them. Vanda was going to decline, but realized how happy it would make this girl to let her kill her. So she agreed, knowing she was going to die from the poison before she ever did any real damage, unless it was against the boss. The winged girl nodded sadly, clearly disappointed. She took Vanda and led her to the wagon in this drawing, where she took Vanda to wherever it was she was supposed to destroy. Although Vanda felt guilty for abandoning her mission, thinking of Fellow and the friends she left in the building, what else was she supposed to do? When they reached their destination and Vanda's new mission, Vanda realized she made a mistake. She didn't realize she was even going to last this long. Fellow hadn't been nearly as lucky. But she was still very much alive as the winged girl shoved her out of the wagon. Although Vanda was alive, she didn't have the strength to stay standing when she hit the ground. It may also have been because she hadn't been fed in the last 2 days it took to get here. I guess now is the time to eat though, because the winged girl shoved a water bottle and stale baguette into Vanda's hands as she explained the mission. Vanda's new target was a school. Her old school, owned by the Little Fighters. All Vanda had to do was break in and assassinate the leader. According to the winged girl, she was getting an easy job, but Vanda didn't agree. The winged girl was able to drag Vanda over to the edge of the battlefield without being spotted. "You've been given your target. Now, go," the winged girl ordered. Vanda froze. What was she supposed to do? The winged girl yelled at her again, this time with a shove. Vanda caught herself on a tree but still barely managed to stay upright. She realized her old plan was out the window. She shouldn't even be alive right now, so might as well go down helping those she wanted to be loyal to. The winged girl was getting upset now, and yelled again. She didn't notice Vanda's anger was building up as well. So when she tried to give her a shove again, Vanda turned and caught her hands. Taken by surprise, the winged girl was brought to the ground and couldn't escape Vanda's sudden strength. Letting out all her anger, sorrow for Fellow's death, and guilt, she screamed at the winged girl, and her hands started to glow the same way the miracle magic always did. This alerted the guards in the battlefield, and the last thing they saw of Vanda was the blinding red eruption she unleashed. And that is where I am leaving it off for this episode. I hope this isn't too sad for any of you, but this is kind of just how it's going, and I hope you guys enjoy that. 'cause I'm probably going to keep doing it anyway. It's themed off of nightmares, what do you expect? Anyway, this is where I'm leaving it off. Not sure when the next one will be out, but it will be out when it is. So I hope you all have a great week.